So today we're going to do some papier mache. So example, either masks, or you can make a bowl, or I have a bird here. There's also a bird over here hanging around. And I've also made a giraffe, which I'm pretty pleased with. I've always wanted to make one, so it gave me the opportunity to do it. So first technique that I'm going to show you is going to be the bowl. So for starters, what I did is I just took an aluminum bowl like this. This one's a little bit smaller, but same thing. So what we did is saran wrap to make sure to cover, and then put it underneath. And that's your prep for your bowl. So the next thing we're going to need, of course, is glue. So the glue, I'm going to go on the stove and make the recipe. Also put the description of the recipe in the comments, the description on the bottom. So let's go make some glue. Okay, so we're going to make the glue for the papier mache. So what I'm turning on my burner, and I'm pouring 3 cups of warm water, even like hot off the top, so that it'll boil faster. So this is to boil. So basically the recipe is 5 parts water to 1 part flour. So the first 3 cups I put to heat. Now I'm pouring my 2 cups of cold water into this just because it's going to be easier to mix. And then I'm going to get my flour. So I got 1 cup of flour. I'm going to pour into my 2 cups. And I'm going to use a whip to whip it up so that it doesn't get too lumpy. So 5 parts water to 1 part flour. So if you want to make half the recipe, you can, if you don't need a lot. I find this is a good quantity to make. So I mixed the 1 cup of flour, or 250 milliliters, into 2 cups. So 500 milliliters of cold water. And I got the 3 cups to boil of water in the pan. So we're just going to wait for that to boil completely, and then we'll keep going. So once my water is at a complete boil, I'm going to take my flour and water, cold water, mix it again just to make sure that it's mixed really good. And with the whip, I'm going to stir as I pour it in. You're going to notice that it's going to thicken pretty quick. So I have my rubber spatula on the side to switch over to it once it starts thickening up, and I've got it really mixed really good. Okay, so now I'm noticing already that it's starting to, so I keep stirring it. I can put the burner down, probably to medium. And I don't have to boil it long. I just have to make sure it gets thick enough. So maybe a minute, not even. I usually just wait till I see it start boiling again in the pot. And usually that's enough. So you can tell that it's really starting to get thick. You really want to stir all the time, because if not, it'll burn the underneath, and it'll stick to the pan. So see, starting to get really thick now. I'm just going to check to see if it's boiling. It's going to get also a little bit more transparent than at the beginning. Not a lot, but just a little difference. That's usually how I can tell also. So I'm going to turn my burner off. And this is the glue to make the papier mache. So it's as simple as that. Take Take it off the burner. And we're all done. Perfect. So now that the glue is done, I've let it cool off. If you want to cool off faster, what you can do is you can pour it into small containers with not a lot in them. So within 10 minutes, it'll be cool enough to work with. So I just put some in a small container here, and then I have my bigger container in front of me. So I'm just going to give myself some room. So the first thing I do, I put a plastic garbage bag on top of my other plastic because it's just easier to wrap up at the end and clean up. So what I do, first thing, is get the paper ready. So the paper, the newspaper and the white paper, there's a certain way to tear paper. You can cut it. I find it's better if you tear it, because when you tear it, the fibers on the paper aren't like as straight, and they mix together better to glue onto your surface. So I'm going to show you how to tear paper, and you're going to say, I already know how to tear paper. You don't have to show me that. But what happens is there's a way that the paper will tear better than the other. So let's just take these pieces, this paper. So if I take my paper, and these are from the same kind, and I tear it down, you see how it went on that side? I didn't do that on purpose. Let's try again. I'm going to try to go down really straight as much as I can. See how it's wanting to go on the other angle? That's because when the paper is made, when the fibers of the paper, of the wood, go into to make the paper, the way that it passes through the machine, the fiber is that way. So it's a lot easier to tear if you go with the fiber. So depending on your paper, you want to try to find that grain first. So if I go this way, you see how it went straight all the way down? Even if I try to go crooked, it'll still go straight. So for your paper, if you know that it's this angle, you don't have to open out the whole thing. You can cut it this way. And then you can just open it up and divide it in two again. You want to make sure, because this is going to be way too long, so you want to divide it all in two. Now, depending on the project that you're making, you might want some smaller pieces also. So if so, you can get them all ready at the beginning. That way, when your hands are all dirty with glue, you won't have to worry about getting paper ready at that time. So I usually make some of different sizes. That way I'm ready. So you want to have at the end white paper to save you from having to hide the newsprint when you're painting. If you want to have the newsprint showing, that's fine though. You don't have to add the white paper at the end. So if you do add the white paper, what I do is I just use regular printer paper. So again, this paper is the same thing. You're going to want to check, is it this way or is it this way? It seems to be this way that it's going better. So then I try and cut my pieces, my strips, to have that ready. So both newsprint and white paper. So if I give you the sample of the bowl, I have my glue. The first things I do is get my hands dirty. So I want to put some on the table, on my plastic. It's much easier. Some people just put the paper in and then take it out. I find this is a lot better, and it assures you to put enough glue all over the paper. So I'm just going to get myself a little spot ready here. So then my hands are sticky with the glue, so I just can go get my pieces of paper and put them on. I usually do like 3 at a time. If you have enough room on your table, you can even do a whole bunch of places at a time. And then I got to take some more glue, and I want to really spread it all the way on my paper. My paper has to come almost transparent. If you still see that the paper is not dirty with glue, that means you didn't have enough. So you turn it around. and then more glue, and have some on there. So it really, like, when it slides really nice on there, you know you have enough put. So then you go onto the bowl. So at first I start and I go further out than my piece that I'm doing, because afterwards, once it dries, I can cut that out to have a more finishing touch. So the second piece I go on top, but not the whole thing, probably about halfway. And I keep going. Again, on top, about halfway. I get 3 more pieces ready. Just want to move them up here. There. I turn them around. More glue. So you're going to want to have at least 3 layers of paper. And that won't be like hard. It'll be like, I'll show you in the bowl. That's what I did. You can even put more, but a minimum of 3. So again, I'm going on top. And on the other side. So now my first layer's done. And because I'm going on top of the others, there's some places that there's already 2, but I count this as 1. So then I go my next one. So because I started off this way, the next one I'm going to go that way, the opposite way, for 2 reasons. 1, the paper's all going to glue together and have it more stronger. And 2, it's going to let me know where I'm at. Because if I start here, I won't know if I have 2 layers on. But if I go this angle, then I see my angles. So I know where to add some where I haven't put 2 layers already. So always turn and have the glue completely on both sides. So now I know I'm there. I go on top of the other a little bit. And again. So I know I'm only going to need another piece, so I'm only going to get 1 piece ready. So now I know that I have 2 layers everywhere. So now with the last one, I would go with the white, because I want to be able to have it easier to paint afterwards. And the white, it's the same thing. You turn it around and add some to the other side. So now the last time I went this way, so I'm going to go this way again. I figured probably 2 pieces will do it, so I'm just going to get 2. And that covers the second layer everywhere. So once this dries, it's going to be a lot easier to paint because of that last white layer. So now I'm just smoothing it out everywhere. The papier mache is a technique that's going to leave it a rough edge. That's the technique, and that's fine. I kind of like that, actually. So you can't have it like completely smooth, but you have it like, as nice as you want. So I'm just going to clean this up a little bit so that I can keep going. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that bowl on the side. I would go put it like on the plastic to dry. It's going to take a day to dry, probably at least. Once it's dried on the outside, I would turn it, the bowl out, take the plastic out, and then leave it dry on the inside also. So maybe 2 days by the time it's completely dry. These have been drying for 3 days actually. So the bowl, that's like once it's dried, I'll be cutting it all the way around to have a finishing here, like a finished effect. So this is three layers, it's the same as this. So if you want it more solid, just put more layers of paper. So you could go 5 even, would have like a good solid bowl. So I'll show you the techniques for painting later. So now we're gonna go and I'm gonna explain to you for masks. So the mask that I made, which is this one, which I got influenced with this mask here. It's a wooden one. So if you go and you make a research online on African mask or Haitian mask or different ones, it's part of their tradition. So most of the masks have exaggerations in the face features. I mean, so you can go look and you can take some inspiration off of that if you want to make a wall mask. So that's what I did for this one. I influenced myself on that to make this. But when I started, what I used was just a foam, like a pink foam for insulation that I did for the shape. So I cut it into shape. And then I covered it with foil. After I had covered it with foil, to make these pieces so that I could have that part on the papier mache, what I did is I just used the salt and flour clay recipe that I have on my first video. So if you want to look at it, you can. It's just clay made with flour and salt and water. And it hardens in the microwave for that recipe. But for this, I didn't harden it. I just put it on. So I shaped it so that I could have my shape of my nose and top of the eyes and chin. And this dried, so it's hard now. But when I did this technique, it hadn't dried yet. I just put it on. And when I put my paper on, I didn't press hard on it because it was still soft. So I didn't want to smush it down and not have that 3D effect. So then after I put my clay, I put the saran wrap on top of that. Because if not, it would have been too hard to take the papier mache off of just the foil and clay. So saran wrap that I hide underneath. And then for the papier mache, same technique as I did for the bowl. So you can start at one end, do layers, one on top of each other, halfway, all the way through. Second layer, but this side again, because if you're doing it all the same one, you won't know where you're at. So if you're doing something longer and you don't have enough to go all the way through, that's okay. You just put your first one, make sure it sticks out more because you want to cut that excess again after. And then you go put another one at the end. So again, 3 layers. This is maybe 4. I'd say this is 4 because I added, yeah, this is 4. So it's a little bit more solid. So I'm just going to put this underneath. So for this mask, I could just put 2 little holes, put a string, and have it on the wall. So I didn't paint it the same way as the other one. I just influenced myself a little bit on the other one. But after that, I did my own thing. You could add even hair if you want with yarn or raffia. I've seen animals too. I've seen a really nice lion with all the raffia for the around the head. It's really, really nice. So that gives you the technique. But then after that, you can do whatever you want. You can do, I did a project once with 2 classes of grade 4 students that did cows. They were influenced with the Swiss cows that they have sculptures. They have painted all different colors. So all these cows were multicolored. It was really cool. So that's, again, it's the technique that I'm showing you, and then you can decide what project you do. So this is for those masks. Now, let's say if you don't have foam. For the other mask that I did, I just used a towel. I shaped my towel the size and the shape that I wanted. I taped it down with masking tape so it would hold. Put some foil on top. Again, with the clay for the eyes and nose. So as you can see, towel, foil, clay, and again, plastic. So saran wrap on top before putting the papier mache. Again, same technique, by layer. 3 minimum, 4 or 5 if you want it harder. So that one is actually this one. So this one, I want it to be like Frankenstein. So I want it to be like the square head top. So that's why I shaped it that way. And that's why I'm going to show you how to paint later. That's why I painted it with green. So I'm going to leave that out so I can show you for the paint. But I am going to show you also this little guy. So this bird, what I did is I wanted him flat. You could do a bird, round bird shaped also. So what I did is I did it with foil. So I shaped my foil. The size, the shape of a bird. And like I say, I wanted the technique to be flat. And I also gave it like a wave in there. So I did the papier mache. Because there's a surface underneath, I don't necessarily have to go 3 coats for this. So this, I would go 1 all over of newsprint, and then 1 all over with white. So 2 would be fine because you have something solid underneath. And then for the legs, I just put some metal wire inside and also secured it with glue gun to make sure that it would hold. So this is for this bird. So now also, I have another bird right here. And what I did for this one is I did the shape underneath with foil. And then the wings, I did foil again, but thinner. And then I put papier mache on top. 2 layers again only. 1 white at the end. And you can suspend it because sometimes we don't have enough room on the tables to have stuff laying around. And the walls are starting to get full, if it's like me anyway. So hanging it makes it interesting too, because you can hang it anywhere in the house or in the bedroom or by a window. So it does nice. So before I go to my last project of the giraffe, I'm going to show you how to paint papier mache. So when you're painting, I just got some green on this pan right here. It's not going to paint the same way as if you're painting on a regular piece of paper. Because it's rugged, because of the texture. So what you want to do, because let's say if I just go this way, you can see it's not painting all in the cracks. So again, I call it tickling the sculpture because you really have to move your brush back and forth without pressing too hard on it for it to go into all the little nicks and cracks. So it hides the white a lot better. So I'm not going to finish that because you can just imagine what it would look like. I am going to show you though, I think I won't get dirty, that this mask, you would actually be able to wear it. So I could put 2 holes and have a string or an elastic and wear it at Halloween. And with, well, this one I wouldn't add hair, but if you do a mask and you add the hair, also you can add the hair in the back so it actually blends into your hair. It could be really interesting. And I've made the holes so that I can actually see in this mask. So that's something that you can do also. So for painting, what I did for the bowl, in the inside it was still the newsprint. So I did a darker color so that it wouldn't show. And so I only had to do one layer. Now, if it would be newsprint and I wanted to go a light color, might have to go 2 layers, or even just put a white all over and then go with my paint after it's dried. So I painted the inside, let it dry, painted the outside, let it dry. Then I went back with my second and third color. Inside of the purple, I just went with the pink and the black. And on the outside with the purple and black. So once that dried completely, I also put a Mod Podge on there. It does a really nice finish. I did that also with the birds. And I also did it with my giraffe that I'm going to show you in a minute. So the Mod Podge does a really nice finish on papier mâché. You can also, if you don't have paint and you want to do papier mâché, you can color this with markers, wooden crayons, or even wax crayons. Anything will color this white because it's paper. It's as easy as that. So you can color it, add color, whichever way you want. So now, for my friend the giraffe. I really had fun making this project because I had always wanted to make a giraffe out of papier mâché, and I just had never got around to it. So this, having to do this video, gave me the chance to make one. So I'm really happy with it. So the way I made the giraffe is again with foil. So I did some strips. So the strips that I made, I used some skewers to go all the way around. So, and I just noticed I used the last ones for the French video. So I'm going to go get some new ones. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got 5 skews. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my foil around. I'm going to take a bigger part out while I'm at it. So these ones, so this one is going to be for the neck part. So these ones will be for the legs. So this is longer, the skew is longer, and that's perfect because I want to be able to have the pointy part sticking out because I'm going to have to stick it into the body. That's how it's going to hold that, and doubling up with tape also. So again, these are techniques. I made a giraffe, birds, and the bowl, and some masks. You could make whatever you want, whatever animal, whatever monster, whatever, anything. Or it can be just an abstract shape too. It doesn't have to actually look like something. It's fine. So once I have this on there, I'm crunching it. And the papier mâché is not going to be a perfect, all soft surface, but that's the technique of papier mâché. That's why I like it. So So I find this one's not sticking out as much. I'm just going to push down on it. There. So the big one, I'm going to make like a shape of a small potato. I have the body. So for my giraffe, what I did for reference pictures, I just looked at real animals. So I looked at giraffe pictures on the internet of different angles to have a chance to know and to see how long the legs are, how long the neck is, how wide the body is, how the neck is not round, it's more like a flat, how the face, how the ears are done. So I made reference pictures on my phone, just screenshots, so that I'd be able to look at exactly what I wanted. So then I knew approximately what shape. So this foil, this one, I didn't crunch it really hard. I did it softly because I want to be able to put this inside. I'm going to be adding more one way or another on top of all this. So even if there's some that doesn't work out exactly, and if it's not at the right place, I can chain it up, take it out, put it back. So then I try to shape the legs, have them approximately where I want them. Like I wouldn't want them either too wide or too together, because I want it to be able to have it, it's got to stand on its own. So then comes the tape. So masking tape or scotch tape, probably better masking tape. And then I tape the legs down for a first part. But I'm going to be putting foil all over this again after. This is just to hold it for now. And again, ouch, to have it the good shape and the good place. And again, with the neck. And depending on the length, then I can just cut it with the piece of skew in there so that I have the shape. And if it's too long, I can just cut it also. Like if the face is too long, I can just cut it with scissors also. So now again, I'm adding more foil to this. So this foil technique, like I'm saying, you can do anything with this. So let's see if I'm just cutting this foil in two. And I'm wanting to shape here. So I'm going around the legs, leaving this part here to start to shape the body. And again, I could look at my reference pictures to see, is it bigger over there? Is it smaller? So now I have one of the skews that's sticking out, so I'm just going to cut it so that I don't hurt myself on there. And then the other part, I could go more over here and shape it. So I'm not going to finish this completely because I don't want to take up all your time, and you've got the principle anyways. So at the end, you want to make sure that it stands up good, that it looks natural. The tail, I did it with just the paper coming down. So I didn't do foil before for the tail because it was really thin. So I just did the newsprint and not actually just a white paper. So once you've done all the foil, you can tape it a little bit more if it seems to be coming apart. And then for the technique for the papier mâché for this, again, because there's a solid underneath with the foil, I just did 2 layers. So one newsprint all over and then white paper all over. So again, when I painted the beige or light colored all over, let dry completely. Then my brownish and let it dry completely. And at the end, again, the Mod Podge to have that shiny finish, just like I did with the bowl and the birds. I find it makes a really nice finish. So that's it for the papier mâché technique. I hope you make a lot of really nice projects. I wish I could see pictures of everything, but anyways, that's okay. So mask like this one, I didn't put a Mod Podge. I could, but I just didn't do that. So leave dry. I'm trying to think. Oh, so next week we're going to be doing some painting with different techniques. I'm going to have like, because regular painting, acrylic paint, you can go on YouTube and a whole bunch of videos and a whole bunch of, so I'm going to show you different techniques. We're going to be painting on wood or on cardboard, so you don't have to have a canvas. If you have a canvas, you can try techniques on there too. But I'm going to be doing a technique of glue gun, or for the smaller kids, it will be glue that will let dry so to have that texture. So this here is the glue gun. First I painted the dark green, and then I went with the glue gun on top and then just touched to have this effect. Again, this is made the same technique, so on a piece of wood. So 3D painting with glue gun or glue, and I'll show you different other kinds of techniques. So next week, painting. So, or next video. So I hope you get to make a whole bunch of projects. To dry, you can dry it in the sun, outside in the wind if it's nice, because it'll dry a lot faster. And again, once it's dry on one side, especially the masks, then you can take it all out and then dry the inside, because you have to take that plastic out, and it's really gonna need another little while to dry the inside. And then after that, you can paint it. So I hope you had fun. And if you want to have the notifications for the videos, don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video, like. And there'll be the description of the ingredients and the amounts for the glue and the description below. So until next time, bye.